Hello, welcome to level 3. Well done for reaching this part, or if you've just joined in, you haven't done any work yet, so not well done. But thank you for joining us. Alright, level 3, you're going to be covering a lot more advanced techniques in acoustic, and also beginning to have a look at electric styles of playing, which you can do on your acoustic guitar, of course. You don't need an electric to follow this part. And just as before, you do not need to be a certain style, because this will apply to all styles of guitar. So you're going to be covering a new chord type, which is going to be the F major chord, also known as the dreaded F major chord. It's a rite of passage that all guitarists have to go through, and I won't lie to you, it is going to be a little bit difficult. But I'm going to try and guide you through it with as many tips and as many hints that I've picked up along the way to help you guys get through this chord. So that's the F chord out of the way. You're going to be looking at bar chords. I'm going to be telling you what they are, how they work. You're going to be looking at a bit of music theory. You're going to start looking at scales and what they are and how they work together, as well as all sorts of other stuff, including some new songs that are going to be pushing your playing to the limits. So, buckle your seatbelts, guys. Get ready for level 3 of my Rex Pearson beginner guitar course. Okay, welcome to the first in the series of level 3. We're going to be looking at the dreaded F major chord, and we're going to build it up in 2 parts to try and, firstly, to aid your fingers, but secondly, to get this idea of barring into your head and the technique. Okay, the F chord uses what we call a bar. Now, a bar is where you, with one finger, push down more than one note at the same time. So you can, for example, push down on the top 2 strings here on the 1st fret to get that instead of... Now what I'm doing is I'm barring with my 1st finger across 2 strings. So you can get bar chords that go across 6 strings, 5 strings, and you might have seen guitarists doing this quite a lot, and they make it look very easy once you know how. But when you're first starting off, this is going to feel like it's impossible, and I know exactly how that feels, and I do commonly see it all the time now. I'm going to give you as many tips as we can. Now, the F major chord, there's an easy F and the dreaded F. The easy F is still pretty difficult, but it's not quite as difficult as a full 6-string bar chord, which is what the F major chord is. So we're going to start and we're going to build up a easy F chord. So let's zoom in on the fretboard. I'm going to talk to you about the common mistakes that happen and how we can fix them so that you don't develop any bad habits for this. Okay, a lot of people ask me, why is the F chord so damn hard? The problem is down to this bar, basically, and it's getting the right technique on the bar so that it rings out clearly. Now, there's an exercise you can do to help develop this. Exercise looks like this. I want you to practice with your 1st finger just simply barring across the first 2 strings, the E and the B string. Push down on both of them at the same time and pluck out each note, and see if you can accurately get the 2 notes to ring together. Should sound something along those lines. Now, if any of it was muted, you may have drifted back from the fretboard. Just like fretting with one finger, you need to make sure that you are placing it just behind the fret to get the best sound, and also to make it a little bit easier. Now move it up a couple of frets and see what happens. Move it to the 2nd fret, try the same thing, and then the next one, and then the next one. Now, probably already you're starting to feel a little bit of pain in the 1st finger, which might be a little unusual, and it's because in order to fret, you're using a part of the finger that up until now you've never used before. So it is going to take, just like when you first learnt your chords, it's going to take a little bit of time to get the sort of feeling in there so that it doesn't hurt as much. What I'd like you to do now, we're going to build up the chord one at a time. We're going to start with this 1st finger. But before we try this chord, there's a little exercise I want you to do. Most people, when they bar the chord for the first time, they put their finger flat across the strings like this. It's the most natural looking and feeling way of doing it. However, when you start introducing other notes of the chord, you can't have your finger flat like this because it's not going to allow your fingers to stretch into position. So what you need to do is tilt the hand sideways like this, and this is a thing that a lot of people don't do and therefore find the chord so difficult. So the bar should actually be pushing against the left hand side of your index finger here. Rather than on the flat part, it should be tilted sideways so that the knuckle is actually pushing down on the strings and not the pad part of the finger here. So let's try this little exercise again. Lean it to the side, pushing down with the side of the knuckle, and then play the two strings. Slide it up, again, again, and don't let it drift back to the pad. Keep it on the side, and remember just behind the frets as you're doing it. And then one more. Okay, that's great that if you're able to get that and you're getting the two notes together, then you're ready to introduce the other notes of the chord. One thing to watch out for, and another common mistake I see, is when you bring in the other fingers, the first finger goes all to pot and it goes back to this paddy part. Make sure that once you've got a good sounding bar and it's on the side of your finger here, then don't move it from there when you introduce the other fingers. It might feel a little unusual, but do not move it. Final thing to point out is your thumb position. Unlike a lot of the other chords where you're over the neck like this and you've got plenty of grip here, the thumb is going to have to slide back. And if you look at the Guitar 101 course, I talk about how to position your hand properly. Okay, now get that bar going together. The thumb position, just so you know, is around here, just above the first fret. So towards the body of the guitar there. Place the first finger there. Okay, strum or pluck those two, make sure they're ringing out clearly. Then we bring in the second finger, which goes on the second fret on the G string, just here. Again, make sure it goes just behind the fret, and watch out that the first finger doesn't move from this sort of side angle that we've got it on. Then let's play that note on its own. The final note of the easy F is the third finger here, and it goes down on the third fret on the D string. So we've got the 4-note chord here now. Let's just play that note on its own. Should sound something like that. Now the third finger may drift back quite a lot and it might not want to be, moved to the behind the fret, but try and get it as far as you can, even if it means using a finger to actually pull it. Get used to stretching the tendons in the hand, but if you're in any pain at all, just give it a rest and try coming back to the chord. Okay, so you've got the chord together, you played each note and it's ringing clearly. Give it a strum. It's a 4-note chord, so don't strum the bottom two strings. Do not strum the E or the A, but from the D downwards. There is your F major chord. Okay, just as before then, release your hand, take it off the fretboard if you had a good clear sound, and then realign exactly as we did. First, second, third fingers, pick each note out as you go, then give it a strum to make sure it's all sounding good. If it didn't sound good, locate the problem and start working around why. Common mistake, as I've said, is that the first finger has gone to the pad and then it's muted, as opposed to being on the side where it needs a little bit less pressure. The other problem is left hand strength. First time you've done this, you might not have the strength to push correctly across all the strings and all the fingers. Try not to let that worry you. The more times you try this chord, the easier it's going to get, the better it's going to get. So introduce this chord into your practice regime. It's called the easy F chord, and then you can get used to playing it in some songs which are going to be coming up in the level 3 course. Well done guys, well done. I called it the easy F, but it's by no means easy, it's just an easier version of the 6-string F chord. Well done for doing that. In the next part we're going to be looking at the 6-string version, so you'll need to put in a little bit of practice getting used to barring on that first finger before attempting the next part of the course. Well done for getting that, and I hope that has been of good use. Don't forget to check out the website for more help, hints, tips, forum, and a chat room where you can talk live with me. I'll see you guys in the next part, and well done.